Let's get it rocking and rolling. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Right. This is the Three Good Guys podcast. My name is Miles Brown. To my right, we have
Leonard Brown.
And to my left, we have
Rodney Butler.
All right. Oh, my bad. I feel like you wasn't done right there.
Nah, this is Rodney Butler.
Okay.
We can get that out of the way.
Okay. So it's time to have a good time, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely.
We're going to be your entertainment for the next about hour of you at work. You know what I'm saying? We all know nobody likes to actually do work at work, especially those of us working from home. So, listen to us chit-chat about a few things today. If I'm right, today's conversation is going to be around the topic of relationships, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know we touched on in our first episode, if you haven't watched that already, go ahead and check it out on all of our social media platforms.
Absolutely.
But we did mention we talked about relationships as far as marriage and courtship, but now we kind of want to get into relationships in regards to friendship. So outside of courtship and marriage, how do we garner relationships as young Christian men, and then maybe even give you some tidbits or how we feel just even personally with it. So so I'm actually going to turn it to the guy who unexpectedly probably doesn't want to start first, but we're going to turn it to Leonard and tell me a little bit about how nowadays do you make friends? If you make any new friends, actually, or come on, just give me a rundown.
Before we go there, our podcast, I watched it, thoroughly enjoyed it. All right, so let's see, how do I make friends? In all honesty, like we were talking before, I'm not really good at making friends. The way I make my friends is I let my brothers make friends, and then they come into my life. And then I'd be like, okay, that person's cool. I'll take that person. And there's a number of factors behind it. One is just trust, right? I don't know you, so it's like you going through a vetting process through my siblings. I know that's kind of weird, but that's really how it happens. And then, also because I'm a Christian and I really try to live the Christian way, so I feel like an outcast automatically. So I'm not just all gung-ho trying to go make friends, because before I even say hi to you, I already feel like an outcast 90% of the time. And then also, which I think I really want to dig into, is the reason why I have a hard time making friends is because, like I said, I went to 5 elementary schools, so I moved around a lot, and so getting attached to people and then getting unattached and attached and unattached, I think the way I just coped with that was I'm just not going to make any new friends.
Hey, let me say this. Well, first of all, I'm looking at your hair. It's got a real nice curl pattern to it, to be honest with you. I don't got nothing to do with nothing. But I'm looking at it that's nice. But like you said, especially that last thing that you said, because I'm just now really starting to make friends, and that's due to me, being in business, joining masterminds, and paying for help from a bunch of people, and just all those people that are in the same situation as me. Now we're growing. It's kind of like being in school all over again. But like you said, going from this school to that school, from Hugh Banks to Ingram, to being homeschooled to Crafton, homeschooled again, and then middle school, and then going to Rev in high school, and then moving to Texas, going to a new high school, and I missed some other schools in there, by the way.
That's a lot.
With all of that, especially when I came to Texas, my first year in Texas, I didn't talk to nobody. So first semester of school, I had lunch with him. So I found him, sat with him at lunch.
Yeah.
And then second semester, we didn't have the same lunch no more. So I pretty much sat by myself until towards the end of the school year.
Wow.
Because it's just making friends is it's just weird. It's honestly a weird process, and I've also felt socially awkward for a long time. So the only people I felt comfortable talking to, people like you, you just been there my entire life, right?
Yeah.
And so how could we not be cool if you've literally been there forever?
Yeah.
But other folks is yo, you want me to just randomly walk up to this person that I ain't never seen before, stick my hand out, say, hey, we're gonna be friends. How does that process even happen?
And something about that is then people think that I'm stuck up. They be like, oh, Leonard's stuck up, and it's I'm not stuck up. I'm just shy.
That's really weird how that happens, because I remember years ago, there was a girl I was talking to at the time, and then I think maybe it was her first time interacting with me before we even began to talk. And she told me, she was like, I thought you were like really serious, or like, you know, and everything, because I was a lot more to myself. Like once you grow up with a certain, like when you're around your family, especially in church and stuff like that, like, you know, you kind of have your little clique of people, and then like, you know, that's pretty much it. And so she kind of felt like it was that way. And then so when I was around newer people, I wasn't really as talkative. I was more so just like answering a question, or, you know, just getting into it and getting in and getting out. But yeah, like the perception of you just changes, just because a lot of times people who are so used to maybe being more outgoing or like making friends are like, wait a minute, like he's super reserved, like not really saying too much, and you know, he's kind of to himself, you know, he's dressed as nice and clean, looks presentable, but like he don't want to talk to me. Like what's wrong with him? Like, is he good? Nah, I definitely get that. I definitely resonate with that.
It's a weird space to be in. A lady I was talking to one time, she was like, my friends didn't know what to think of you. I was like, ain't nothing to think of me. Like, your friends don't know me. But she was like, yeah, but like you weren't talking to them when they was there, and like y'all wasn't interacting. It's like, I mean, I wasn't rude to them. I didn't say nothing mean to none of them. But because I wasn't outgoing with them, they felt as if I was like pushing them away. It's like, I didn't push you away. I just don't know. I'm not comfortable with you. Yeah. You're a stranger.
I had to, when me and Gina was dating and I was hanging out with her and her group of friends, I had to just come out and tell them flat out, like, yo, I deal with anxiety and I'm not used to being around new people, and I don't dislike y'all. I'm just doing my best to just be here. You know what I'm saying? Especially when people take you into different arenas that you're not used to going into. Like, I'm not used to being in places with loud music and all that stuff. So I'm like, I'm looking standoffish. I'm not standoffish. I am just trying to, I don't even know the words. I'm just trying to present myself here. Yeah. And so that's why my circle is small, because I think my friends get me and they know, like, if I get quiet, I'm not being rude or anything. I'm just getting used to my new environment.
Yeah, and it's really weird, especially for me. What I do, I'm a public speaker, so people just expect me to be an outgoing person because I'm a public speaker. Like, that's what you do. Like, no, I have messages to share, I have information to give, and I've learned how to give that effectively. Yeah. So that is what I do. I teach, I educate. But coming up to you afterwards and just building rapport, building relationship, that is not what they paid me for. They paid me to make sure you learned something when I was on that stage. And so people are always like shocked afterwards. They're like, so you like really, I noticed you were quiet. Or like this one lady, she didn't know that I was actually good on the stage. Because the first time she saw me, I didn't speak. So I'm just in the audience. And she realizes, 3-day event, she's there every day. She's like, he ain't talked to nobody, he ain't did nothing, like he's to himself. So the second time she saw me, like 6 months later, she was like, oh, I didn't know you had this in you. It's like, yeah, you didn't know me at all.
So do you think you need to make a conscious effort to be more outgoing?
Yeah, that's something I've been working on for over a year now. Just being more intentional about making sure people know I'm here. I'm available. What I can do for them, that I am open to friendship, I am open to being cordial, I'm open to working with you, because it's super simple for me to just stay in my cocoon.
Yeah. I got a friend, kind of it's a new friendship that started, and I met him through Miles.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I got a friend, like I said, it's a new friendship. I met him through Miles, and we were both just chatting about like how hard it is to like gain new friends. And so like he then told me, he was like, yo, I invite you places and you don't go. And so now I make a conscious effort, like, okay, I gotta do the friend part too. And like, let me get up and go places. And that's hard for me, man. I don't like to go nowhere. Like, this is my favorite place on the planet.
For real. It's nice. But you know what I find is, like, even when when you start to mature in Christ, and like, you more so kind of are prepared to go to church or something like that on a day. But then there'll be days where you're like, man, I really don't feel like going. Like, I don't want to go anywhere. And then you drag yourself to go, and you're like, man, I'm so glad I came.
It always be the best time.
It always happens. So it's the same thing with like friends that invite you out. Like I'll share recently. So I just reconnected with another friend of ours that we knew since California and everything for a while. Andre Tucker. We actually met up this past week. Okay. And he just shot me a message one day. I was like, hey man, I just want to link up and have lunch together or something. I was like, okay, cool. And so before, older me would have been like, I don't feel like going. Like, how am I gonna get out of it? And it's nothing against Andre. Andre's always been a cool person and everything. But it's just like getting into that social, or going out and doing something like, outside of like the norm. You know what I mean? And like, I haven't talked to him in a while. And I'm just like, I don't want it to be weird or anything. But I was like, no, I remember like these people that have, your best interest at heart. So at least I knew the baseline of that. Yeah. But finding and garnering new, like brand new relationships with people who I've never met before. It's weird, but I kind of started to like do it daily in my line of work. Like I have to talk to people every day. Yeah. So I'm getting the reps in as far as talking and trying to, I think you said something about like, being confident in presenting like a thing that you're familiar with, like with the public speaking. Like so now it's like, how do I get confident in presenting myself now? Yeah. Like how do we convert that? Because that's different. Like I can, if I know a product or something, I can go and talk to that, and all my confidence comes from my knowledge of that thing. But I mean, even for some people, I say on like an anxiety standpoint, I feel like people who don't really truly know themselves all the way, maybe even through Christ or just even personally, they have more difficulties presenting themselves, and so they're a little bit nervous because they're still trying to figure them out. And so I mean, I think that's
actually a very important thing that you pointed out, because so it applies to multiple things, but I teach people how to speak, so that's where I'm gonna go with it. A lot of times, a lot of people are afraid of public speaking, and they get anxiety from it. The anxiety arises from two things. One, you're thinking about other people way too much, or two, you don't have confidence in yourself. Yeah. And because you don't have confidence in yourself, that goes back to number one. Now you think about what the other people are going to say because you're not confident in you. If you would, for some people, if they would do things like, let me just learn what I'm supposed to be talking about. Like, let me just research the thing I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Let me just make sure I got a decent haircut, decent clothes on, right?
So you're not thinking about that.
So I'm not worried about, dang, do I look presentable? Do they think I look nice? There are people who just, in doing that alone, they're like, okay, now I feel better about doing this. All because now they know what they have to say, and they know nobody's going to look at me and think, man, that's a terrible shirt you got on, terrible shoes you got on, terrible pants you got on, right? And so they have a new confidence. So in building relationships with other people, what you just said is now we have to learn us. I got to learn the things that I'm good at. I got to learn the things that make me happy, the things that annoy me, so I can be more confident when I'm around a new group of people and say, yeah, I do like this, no, I don't like that, and be confident in saying X, Y, Z, instead of like, man, I don't know, should I say this? Know that it's okay to be who you are.
Absolutely.
A lot of us don't know that, and a lot of us know it here, but we haven't practiced it enough to be able to live it out. One thing that builds confidence is repetition. Oh, I did it. So now I feel better about it.
Exactly. And even to add to that, a lot of times we're so focused on maybe even contorting ourselves for the people that we're our new set of friend groups or whatever it is. And you're not truly being authentically yourself. And so that's another thing about so it's harder to maintain those relationships or friendships because you're maintaining it off of almost a lie you're telling yourself.
Yeah, it's a lie.
And so then you're like, and that's what I found myself. I'm guilty as charged on that. I think a lot of times I was so just ready to just be likable by everybody that I would change myself in order to be accepted in this circle, in this room, and then thinking I have a real genuine friendship with this person. Although we may have want the best for each other, at the end of the day, like I'm still not being authentically myself. I'm not setting my boundaries properly. I'm not saying, well, I don't agree with this, or and everything. So maturing is knowing that it's okay that even when we're talking about being contentious in the first podcast, even if I have a new friend or something like that, and we don't agree on something, like I have to be honest with that person about that, and then it can even garner a better line of respect. So, you know, I have friends like, you know, who may curse a ton, and you know, like around certain people or anything like that, I don't want that to be the norm. So I'm like, not, you know, and then they'll recognize that and be like, okay, I respect that. You know, maybe I'll tone it down a little bit or whatever, right? Or you know, friends that do certain things that I don't partake in, but at the same time, there's a respect level that's there, and then we meet in the middle here. So it's a little bit tough to garner because it has to reflect a lot of self growth on you as well. Like, okay, I got to get to a point to where I'm being authentic to myself, so I can build lifelong friendships. And I want to kind of get into that, into lifelong friendships, because you hit on something before. So, you know, sometimes it's a little bit easier to do that when you've known this person your whole life. Yeah. Like, we know each other. So, like, you know, if I know you're not acting yourself, like, I can tell, like, okay, Like, this is not like, you know. And I wouldn't even begin to say, like, we know each other, like super well. Yeah. But we know each other well enough. Yeah. I mean, especially you two guys. You know, of course, you're brothers. So, you know each other well enough to say, like, hey, okay, what's going on? But when you don't have that, because with friendships or outside of people that you grew up with, and you're trying to garner that, it's difficult because, you know, just like you said, I went to about 6 or 7 different schools over the course of my life, and then of course we moved a couple of times. And so, you know, when you start to build like a really good core friendship with somebody, and then it has to be put on hold or literally, you know, just dies because you guys are no longer around each other, you know, and everything like that. And so, do you think that's an advantage? Do you think that's a strength that we can build upon, being able to, I guess, try to garner something new? Or like, how do you feel like we should respond to that?
Like, so you're asking about, like, you know, all the moving and how it affects you? Yeah. It's weird. I've seen it affect my oldest brother in a way to where him and his friends, like, they call themselves the day ones or whatever, I don't know. He has a core group of friends. It's crazy. It's like 6 or 7 of them. From, like, junior high and high school to this day. Like, core group, best friends. I didn't have that experience. My reaction to the situation was completely different. So I think that you could, like, having having the experience of all these times moving around and stuff, I think it could make you, you know, a more friendly person and able to relate to more people and all that stuff. But you gotta want that. And me, I just didn't want it. I just retreated into my cocoon, if I'm just gonna be honest. So,
but like sometimes you're right. Like sometimes trying to be a friend or is exhausting a little bit, especially like when you got a lot of responsibilities. Yeah, especially when you get older. Yeah, it's just like, you know, it can't be like a quick like, hey, let's just go bowling or something, or let's go do that. Like, we have to plan.
Listen, I was with my friend. Yeah. I was like, listen, I'm not a let's do this today friend no more. I'm a 3 to 5 business days type of friend.
You gotta let me know.
You gotta let me know in advance.
That's a fact. It's funny how moving around affects people differently, because like you said, Marquise, he just got to know everybody, and everywhere he goes, I feel like Marquise knows. It feels like literally everybody. Yeah. Okay, from the average Joe to whatever celebrity, like somebody knows Marquise. But for me, on the other hand, it was just like, okay, how do I get through this day? It's easier to get through this day just figuring out who I need to be in contact with. True. Generally speaking, I don't need to talk to the people around me to get through the day. So that's how I learned to get through my day. It's just being by myself.
Yeah, like when it comes to friendships, I'm glad you said that. For me, I'm always thinking like, do I need this friendship? But I got 4 brothers and a sister. Do I necessarily need this friendship?
That's crazy.
And half the time I say, no, I don't.
I had to grow to get to that point. There was a point in my life, probably like right out of high school, going into college and stuff like that, where I was like, man, I really feel like I need some like other friends, like, and I almost was getting a little bit depressed on that front. Like, man, like, I feel like I'm a good person, you know. I feel like I can, but like nothing really sticks for me as far as relationships goes, as far as friendships go. And so, for a while, I thought I needed that. But then I realized, like, I mean, literally everything I need is around me. But in order to have a relationship with someone, like, where do you think? I'll turn it to a question. Where do you think that desire? I'm not even necessarily a desire, but where do you think that comes from? Like, to even want to go have or build a new friendship. Like, do you feel like it has to be something that just organically happens? Do you feel like maybe in your season in life where you're like, hey, I want to allow some fresh ideas or fresh people around me? Like where would that come from for you?
A couple things. One, some people have a desire to have friends. So that right there is one. Like, I want a friend, so I'm about to go do what it takes to have a friend. Two, it sometimes comes out of a need of where you are. So, for example, I joined a year-long mastermind last February, and we're just doing things in business. And everybody has a different business: t-shirt business, graphic design. One person's a therapist. I do what I like. Everybody has a different business, but we're all learning how to use our content to be more effective, right? How to make a funnel online, and just a bunch of different business stuff, right? As a result, we needed each other to lean on for help with this, help with that.
Gotcha.
Hey, Jasmine, you're a really smart lady. Can you help me with this? Amber, you know everything to do with Canva. Can you help me with this? Q, I'm thinking about getting a t-shirt, but I want it sublimated instead of screen printed. Can you help me? Q sent me 3 shirts. She was like, yeah, I'm going to send you one that's screen print so you know for sure what that's like. Then I'm going to send you something that's sublimated so you can see what that's like. I just asked her questions about the difference, and she was like, this is what I do, so I'm going to send you the product so you can make that decision for yourself. But us being in that world of business, working and grinding to make something happen, forced us to lean and depend on each other, and that is where our relationships grew.
See, but what you just mentioned was quality friends that have something to offer, and that's why I don't make a lot of friends. Not a lot of people got something to offer. Like everybody you just mentioned is focused. They have a goal. They have something they're trying to do. Those are people that, like, okay, I can see myself around. I can go out of my comfort zone and say hi to. It's not really that I want something from them, but they have a vision of where they want their life to go. And then, so that's, but I did have a question about friendship, because you mentioned cursing. So, as Christians, as all 3 of us are Christians, how do you have you ever struggled with having your friends respect your Christianity? Has that ever been a thing for you?
I mean, okay, I can use one. There's one example of a friend that I had who basically, his walk of life was very different.
Contrary.
Right? And, of course, it's typically work friends. I mean, that's the most majority of, like, a lot of new people that I meet will be from work. And, he knew where I stood when it comes to everything, because I'm always very vocal about, even though overhear me having conversations with customers or people that I've known, clients that I've had for years, and say, like, oh, what he's about, like, while I'm here in Texas, everything, like. And so he already felt like, okay, he was talking to one of my coworkers, like, I feel like he may be judging me a little bit, like, I don't know. And I'm just like, well, first of all, I'll tell you this. I don't do the judging. The Bible does all the judging. God does all the judging. It has nothing to do with me. So if I repeat something, it's just because it's what you got to take it up. Now, of course, do I judge? Of course I do. Everybody does. Everybody puts people into certain boxes that's convenient for them to try to understand them. But ultimately, I would like to claim to be at least a friendly and approachable person to the majority of people. Like, if you ever need anything from me, you can contact me, call me, whatever it is. I'll be with you. I'm not going to shut anyone off. Now, even if I don't respect what it is that you are doing, I can still speak to the person of you and to speak to the things that I know are your true identity, not to give too much away, but and I can resonate with that piece of you. And then, of course, when it gets to this other piece, and I believe God will always give me the opportunity, if the people are meant to be in my life and friends, I'll never have to pry and dig and, like, tell them, like, you need to be doing this. The opportunity always presents itself to we'll be having an organic conversation, and then they'll ask me, and I'll be able to, okay, this is what I believe.
Since you asked. Yeah.
Since you asked, I'm never going to give this to you unwarranted. You may hear it unwarranted just in my walk and talk and what I do daily.
Yeah.
So if that offends you, sorry. You know, I'm here to be offensive in that sense. but yeah, God always gives me the opportunity. And sometimes with certain people in my life, like I pray for the opportunity to be like, God, open it up to where we can talk about these things, because I am concerned about their soul and their well-being.
Yeah.
And if I see something that's unhealthy, not even just on a business, just on a common sense or like just a basic morality sense, to where I know somebody's on a path that's not gonna be fruitful. Like I pray for the opportunity to actually talk to them, but let it be organic, because I know how it feels to get preached at and told at and everything, and it makes you get defensive, even though some truth can come from that. It makes you get defensive and not actually look. Not
gonna receive it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean that's just by being authentic though as well.
Yeah.
Being authentic.
For me, I've never had people. I never really struggled with that. My struggle was I didn't think people would accept it.
Hold on a second. He never struggled. When I was in school...
I'm going to get to some things.
Oh, man. Let me let you do your thing. I just got excited. Do your thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm going to get some things.
He never struggled with that.
So yeah, I never struggled with people respecting what I believed. Part of my struggle was just seeing how other people would speak about folks of faith. I just assumed that with me not backing down my faith, that they would think a certain way about me. That was my thought off the bat, because I'm like, this is how you talk about that person, that's how y'all talk about that person, what y'all gonna say about me, right? And this is not to say I'm perfect, because I'm very far from it.
Oh yeah, you far from perfect.
Chill out. But what I learned is that not only did I not struggle with that, people actually very much so respected my walk with Christ. Before I left California, one of my good friends told me, he said, Miles, you're like my pastor. I'm like, I ain't no pastor. He's like, but like you're a pastor for me. Like, I got questions, you have answers, you genuinely care. I was like, oh, that's one heck of a compliment, right? And then I get out here and people start calling me Brother Miles, right? And then it goes from Brother Miles to Minister Miles to Deacon Miles to Pastor Miles to Bishop Miles. I'm like, they just call me this, right? And one day somebody hit me on Facebook and they was like, Brother Miles, I just want you to know, like, when we called you that, it was really a sign of respect, because even though you didn't have those titles in school, like, you earned those titles from us. So we gladly called you Brother Miles. Like, we were happy to call you Pastor Miles, because that's the life that you were living, and that's those are titles. Like they titled me. I never told nobody to call me Brother Miles. In fact, at first I didn't like it. Like, I got that name because we went and we danced. We might have did a song at my friend Devin's church, right? And so Devin sees me at school. He's like, Brother Miles. So that's what but again, we moved to Texas. Again, I don't talk to a lot of people, right? But Devin talks to everybody. So everybody, and Devin introduces me, hey, this Brother Miles right here. And so they take that, and then they get to know me, and they're like, hey, Pastor Miles, hey, I got this question. And it's like, wait, I never told you to call me pastor. Yeah, don't worry about that, Bishop. I'm like, wait, you just was pastor, Bishop.
That stuff was funny, because they really called him Brother Miles. You're like 15 years old, like, Brother Miles, you want to go play basketball? That was funny, man.
That's so
awesome.
And that, like I said, at first I wasn't sure how I felt about it until I learned, like, no, that's really like the ultimate respect that they could give me at the time, and that's what they were doing.
Like you, I didn't really struggle with it either. I guess, like, maybe when you're authentic about, like, your walk with God, other people are gonna respect it. My struggle was more so on the other side. Sometimes I felt like people were trying to overcompensate, and I was like, guys, I'm still one of the guys. Like, I'm still on the football team. Okay, this is still a locker room. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't make it weird. Like, I'm not trying to make it weird. Please, you don't. Don't make it weird. So, but the only person I I be having a problem with is one of my female friends, and we can go into Platonic in a minute here.
Yeah.
She be cussing all the time. And I be like, yo, like, stop cussing. Like, you don't have to cuss. You really don't have to cuss. And so, I only got really one friend like that. And I accept people when they cuss too, but I just be trying to encourage people to do better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
For sure.
I meet them wherever they at.
Now, this man, he hit on it. Platonic friends.
Yeah, right before we get into that, because we really about to get into
We're going to the land of make-believe, but go ahead.
But yeah, it kind of more skewed to what you were saying as far as how people viewed you and everything. So I was out just to present some opposite viewpoint. Like, I was a complete opposite. Growing up, I was doing any and everything, right? Mm-hmm. Because especially, you know, with my last name being my last name, it could, you know, when it comes to the church and things like that, who I was, you know, tied to, especially when we were in California, even more so. Like, you know, I was not trying to be seen as like that product. I was trying to be you. I was trying to be me.
Yeah.
And what I thought being me was at the time was like, well, I'm not gonna just be what my uncle and my auntie want me to be, or I'm not just gonna be what my parents want me to be. Like, you know, they were like, oh, you're gonna, you know, preach, you're gonna be a minister and a minstrel and everything like that. I'm just like, yeah, nah, I don't want to do that. You know? So, you know, I was out doing everything. And of course, I think there was always still a piece of me because there was never a point in my life to where I feel like I veered too far off. Mm-hmm. Just because that fear was still within me. Like,
I don't know, because I seen your Facebook. I mean, your MySpace back in the day.
Listen, MySpace was a special spot.
I seen your MySpace.
If any of y'all knew me from MySpace back then, I apologize. Okay?
Yeah,
I'm just apologizing in advance. I apologize. So, of course, everybody in my family knows, and this is family to me here. So, I was a little bit of a rambunctious kid, teenager. I did a lot, okay? And so, I really don't know where it all came from. A little bit of rebellion and stuff like that, just because, of course, my circumstance at that time was, you know, everybody wanted to uphold me to be, you know, this thing. And I didn't see myself as that. So, anyway, in that, I did a lot. And I think I did a lot because I wanted to be received by the world, or like received by like people outside of my church. And I saw, okay, this is what they do. Like, I'm going to imitate this and I'll get in good with everybody. Mm-hmm. And even in the midst of that, I knew to myself that these people aren't truly my friends. Now, there were some friends that were genuine friends that I made, but a lot of them weren't truly my friends, just a bunch of people that I just knew. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't even say I was popular. I feel like a lot of people knew who I was because I was a chameleon in a sense in high school. Mm-hmm. Until getting out to Texas. Texas is a whole other story. But like more so, you know, middle school, the first couple years of high school in California, I was just in and out of whatever friend group. Like, just because, you know, I wanted to be, I don't even know if I wanted to be popular.
You were just in the in crowd.
I just wanted to be accepted, you know, by everything. And then what I wasn't realizing is, you know, once I accepted who I was personally, then acceptance is already a baseline. Mm-hmm. Like, because I've accepted me, so I don't care if you don't accept me or not. Mm-hmm. You know, I would preference, I think everybody prefers to be liked.
Absolutely.
So
I enjoy being liked.
But at this, I'm not going to compromise being liked to compromise myself anymore. Yeah. And I did that a lot growing up, and like, so that's what got me into a lot of trouble, honestly.
Yeah, you said like you accept yourself, because I totally accept myself, and I'd be like, they gonna go to hell anyways. All right. I'm not about to sweat this, you know what I mean?
Well, we're gonna damn the people today.
I don't judge. I don't judge. I just speak facts. You know what I'm saying? Someone is going to go.
But I mean, let's talk about it. People are really going.
Somebody's
like, it's gonna happen. You know. So I just don't want to be one of those. So yeah, if you feel like that's the path that they lead on, then I'm with you 100%. Literally.
You know, that's
I was joking.
He said they're going to hell anyway.
I'm joking.
I'm cool with that.
I love everyone. I love everyone right where they are. Some things do make me uncomfortable, so I might have to, check out. But I generally love everyone.
Let me repeat that one time. Look directly at the camera. We love everyone right where they are.
Exactly.
That don't mean we accept everything. Mm-hmm. That don't mean everything makes us comfortable, like you said. Some things make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But let's be clear. You are loved right where you are.
Absolutely.
At this very moment. And I think that's something a lot of people need to hear,
Well, you couldn't
especially
call yourself a Christian if you didn't love people right where they were.
Exactly. But there's a perception that because we hold a certain belief that there's this person, or if you do that thing, or you believe like this, that now you're not loved. No, we disagree on certain beliefs, but you are loved.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. And disagreeing is not bad. I mean, you disagree all the time. You think that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time, and I think he still got some time to go before
Absolutely,
he reaches
man.
Brady.
That's a whole
You know
episode.
what I'm
right
saying?
there.
So-
This guy was tripping on
Wait.
I was like, man, look,
We're talking Brady, boy. One step at a
Listen.
time.
I understand like ceiling and potential.
Yeah,
and everything.
potential. He's got the potential.
Potential, yeah, I'm with
Yeah,
you.
no
But
doubt
like,
about it.
no, man, you
You
can't
guys
just.
are talking potential
People get
like
excited when
They
new
get all
things
excited.
happen.
Hey, this dude told me that Ben Simmons is gonna be the next LeBron.
this was years ago, bro.
People get excited
They get
Wait.
excited.
Paul, time
when
out.
they see something.
Time
I'm
out.
just like, look,
Listen.
let time tell the story, okay?
Let me clear some things up. One, Ben Simmons coming out of LSU was very much so like LeBron James. If you say that,
Wait a minute.
Told me the next LeBron.
Not even really coming out of LSU, he wasn't, honestly.
No,
Maybe
his
out of
first-
high school.
no, his first year. Look at LeBron's first year. Look at Ben Simmons' first year. Just watch the film and
But
tell me
that's-
they're not
that's
similar.
what I'm saying,
You're crazy.
bro. You gotta give
but
it
secondly,
time, bro. You gotta give it time.
And all I was saying is that he would play like LeBron. LeBron is clearly a better scorer, but Ben Simmons is a rebounder, he's a blocker, he's super athletic. He
He's a better
everybody.
player. Like, he actually plays more games.
Yeah.
LeBron is way better, but that didn't even happen until a couple years ago. But anyways, and then secondly, because I gotta say this, you're talking about Patrick Mahomes' potential. This is realized
The
potential.
Okay.
No. This is realized.
What if he never makes playoffs ever again? He's not better than Brady.
Yes, he is.
No,
Get
he's
outta here,
not.
bro.
There's
He
no
just
way.
hasn't. He just hasn't played as
Seven
much.
rings?
He hasn't played as much as Brady, but he's already better
We're
than
getting
Brady.
off topic, but I gotta say this: Brady has more championships than any franchise.
I understand.
Franchise.
I understand.
Do I get out of here?
And Mahomes is still better than Brady
Alright.
ever was.
Man, listen.
I'm really interested to. Oh, you want? So I was gonna move on.
Nah, I'm good. I don't want to.
Go ahead.
This will take up the rest of the podcast. So we're gonna get
I'm
into
really
it.
interested in.
If y'all interested in opening up that conversation even more,
Yeah,
let us know.
we can go into that.
Because we'll really make a 3-hour long podcast talking to this guy. Okay?
No, I know in our text we talked about having platonic relationships, and I know you said that you had some points on it, but y'all want me to just tell you what I feel?
Yeah. Go
Wait.
ahead.
Before we do, just a random poll. Do men and women have straight platonic relationships with each other?
Yeah. Answer that in the comments for us.
You know what I'm saying? What's your answer?
Oh, you want to start with us?
Now,
So-
don't go into detail. Just
just the yes. So
Just yes or no.
ask the question again. I want to make sure.
do men and women have platonic relationships with each other? Male and female
can or
relationships?
do they?
Both.
I'm gonna
It's
say
possible.
Yes.
Yes. I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah,
I'm saying yes.
possible. I'm saying it's a possibility.
Okay. Go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
I'm gonna let Leonard open it up.
What did I put in the text? Listen, because we got a
don't
little
read
group
that
chat.
verbatim.
Let me go to that. Let me find it here. Dang, where's it at? I can't find it. Somebody got. So we were talking about can men have close? See, that's the thing. Not just platonic.
Close.
Gotcha,
Platonic.
close. Like somebody, a female that you or a female or male that you would call your best friend.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
you feel like you can have that.
I mean,
I would like to hear what Miles
Well-
has to say about that because I mean
it
he
depends.
ain't married, so
I ain't
I
married.
already know how.
Y'all
ours
kind of
is.
Yeah.
allowed to have one.
So, anyways, so we was like, can a man have a close platonic friend of the opposite sex? And I put platonic relationships. That's what I call a relationship when I don't want people to know that we sneaking around. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't believe in it. Now, do I have female friends? Yeah, I have a close female friend, so to speak, but I haven't seen her in years. Like I think naturally you need to have distance, even physical distance between you and somebody
for
of the
sure.
opposite sex.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I'm not
Like
hanging out
I
with no
couldn't
females.
dare in any instance, like if I had a close female friend, right, and like I'm at the mall or something, just shopping by myself, and she runs up to me and like jumps and hugs me or something like that.
Yeah.
And even if I don't know anybody in that mall, I'm looking around. Like,
You trying to get another kill.
like you trying to get me killed here. Like, what is going on? Like, we don't do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It can be like, hey, it's good to see you. Maybe we get a little side hug and
Church hug.
Yeah.
Well,
church hug, and then we move on.
I'm gonna say something that most dudes won't admit. 99% of my female friends came as a result of some form of attraction. Like, there was some attraction along. I didn't just be like, oh, she's a cool person, she happens to be a girl. No, like, I had some form of attraction to this person, which is why now, like, if we're still friends now, there's
Well, I do believe it has to do with the context in which you met them. Like, for instance, like, most of my closer female friends that I've had were from work. So I had to interact with these people.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like it was necessary for me to do my job. So in that, you know, I don't like to be mundane on jobs. So, you know, we're going to talk and have conversations about things and everything like that. And none of that comes from attraction because I ain't attracted to nobody at work. But
you come up where
you know, that I'm just saying that. Let me not say it too harsh. Let me not say it too harsh. But I'm not. Okay, and so
the coworkers gonna see this.
Yeah, they might see it. But you know, it's all love. We
love everybody right where they are.
We love everybody right where they are. That's exactly right. So I mean, and then I will say, like, we'll go to the past and say, like, there's been people that I worked with previously that are okay, they're very attractive and everything. But and then with that, you automatically kind of put on the like, okay, let me make sure I'm properly, you know, distancing myself and everything like that, because there's one thing that you can do, like, okay, let me rewind it back to this. Me and my wife had a conversation years ago about, like, would you ever feel like you would need to step out? And I'm just like, I ain't with cheating. It's happened to me before. I'll never do it, right? And she's like, well, you can't say that. You can't say you never do it, right? Because you can't guarantee the circumstances. You don't know, you know, what's going to look like for you in a couple years. Like, so, but what are you doing to make sure that doesn't happen? Is the question I would ask people. And so, platonic friendships with the opposite sex, close ones, I don't think, as far as, especially if you're a married man or even if you're a person that's courting, that ain't the best idea. And even if your significant other or person you're courting is saying that they're okay with it, like, it's always just safer to just not even enter that into the equation. So if it causes you to have to distance from people that you may have been close with at one point, just respect it as that was a season of my life that I may have had a closer relationship with this person, but now we're on to another season.
Yeah,
it's a new season. It's a new day. You know, we don't need to continue to build upon that. Now we can always have an extra, you know, love and respect for that person. I have good love and respect for all the, you know, women that I had maybe talked to in the past, and like I appreciate, you know, that time in our lives and how they were helpful to me or in whatever form of fashion as far as our friendship was. But beyond that, it's just like I can't. You know how she can't call me to hang out. I'm not gonna really go.
You know how you were like, you know, I'll never cheat. That's not for me. Like all that stuff. Like, sounds great, but I've seen great men fail. So I always think of King David, right? Like, King David killed Goliath, killed a bear with his hand, walked with God, overcame the trials with Saul, got the kingdom, united the kingdom, all this stuff. But that day he was outside and looking at Bathsheba.
Yeah, he was like,
you know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like cheating is all about not putting yourself in a position to cheat. Like that's I don't care how focused you are. Like, you have to not put yourself in that position, and that starts with distancing yourself from people. Like, I had a friend before I got with Gina. I liked her a lot. Yada yada yada. When I decided to get serious with Gina, I literally ghosted this person. Do I think ghosting is good? No. Yeah. I don't. But I knew me. Gina's in another state. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to be like, you over there, I'm over here. No, I did what I had to do. So I'm really, really rigid on this platonic friend thing. Like, I'm really not with it. Or my platonic female friends, there's a distance. Gotcha. And whenever I go see them, I'm taking somebody with me. Like when we went to, I think it was with you. Last time we went to the Cole house, like, you was with me, right?
I don't remember.
It was a long time ago. Oh, it was you? Oh, it was Elijah.
You
sorry.
do remember, Miles?
No.
Okay, good. He has many brothers.
Yeah,
Okay?
but the case in point is like anytime I'm not gonna see a girl by myself, and even
Absolutely.
I could feel like nothing's gonna jump off. I could feel like that, but I'm sure like all these men that thought they would never cheat, I'm sure they thought that way too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not taking them chances.
Yeah.
Yo.
I understand.
So one thing I was telling some of my little brothers earlier, or one of my little brothers earlier, is like, for the most part, like you said, relationships between men and women starts off with some level of attraction. Now, if it's now platonic, either y'all are lying about who's attracted to who.
Boy, see that every day.
Which happens a lot, and you don't need to lie about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can be honest and say, yeah, there was some attraction, and we went through that phase and found nothing, right?
Hmm.
Like, I feel more comfortable if you say, I was attracted to this person in the past, I did talk to them, I don't like them, this ain't gonna work, XYZ happened, this is their lifestyle, I can't deal with it. I feel more confident in that. I feel more confident in that than you saying, yeah, this is just a close platonic friend. We never did anything. We never tried anything. It's like, okay, that means you just haven't got there yet. Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to let you finish. But listen, I feel you 100%. Because listen, you got to ask Gina. Gina has this friend, cool person, whatever, no, don't need to be named. But I was like, did you at any time ever find this person attractive? And she said yes. Because if she said no, we would have had a problem.
Yeah.
But she was real with me, and I was like, okay, y'all can be friends because you're telling me the truth.
I really feel like if you're saying you never found them attractive, and they never tried to talk to you,
mm-hmm.
they lied.
Then it's just that moment in time hasn't come yet.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, there are times where that's not the case. Like I said, some of the ladies that I've met in business recently, attraction had nothing to do with our relationship. Our relationship was built on business, right? Exactly. So that's why we know each other. So, I mean, that happens. But other folks, for the most part, attraction plays a role. And if you don't do something to deal with that attraction, or, for lack of a better term, get it out your system, then that's still fighting you every time they come around because you never got it out.
True.
So, how I personally feel, if there is a platonic relationship between male and female, and you have a significant other, mm-hmm. I need to know you already been through that, and you was like, nah, I need to know that your mind is at a place where like you just can't even imagine that person anymore,
mm-hmm.
right?
True.
Because I've been through that. Like I have a close female friend that at one point in time in high school, I was very much so attracted to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knew it. It didn't hide it, right? Mm-hmm. But now,
then we grow up. That's what happened. You grew up, they grew up, and now you like.
I'll just say that life has put us on two different paths. So I'm not capable of seeing her in that way anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have that, and partly because that happened, now there is more distance between us because they don't live that far. Yet I ain't seen her in months.
Mm-hmm. As it should be.
Yeah, I mean it's a difficult thing to balance in honesty, to be honest. Like for me, like if my wife were to tell me like, hey, I got this really cool guy friend at work, and you know we may go eat lunch together. Like I'm like hold on.
You can make her do what?
Nah, see, but this is the thing though. Because there is I believe in like, you know, I believe there can be respectful like acquaintances, friends, even, but there's certain protections I feel like you have to agree, especially this is from like a married person's standpoint. Like I'll tell my wife like, hey, if I go out anywhere and it's just me and another woman and that's it, it's only going to be either for work to where we're going into an environment where we're going to be talking to a lot of different people and we had to maybe carpool together or whatever that may be, which that rarely happens anyway. Or, I mean, honestly, that'll probably be it.
That's about it.
The only other like if you ever see me out in these streets with a young lady with me that is not my wife, she's probably my sister.
Yeah, but
like honestly, that's it. Like that's the only person. And even with like cousins, like I have cousins and stuff like that, that there's no type of relationship like that there. But you probably never even see me just one-on-one with even just my cousin in a lot of cases. Only really my sisters. So, you know, I don't really think that's well, I can't say it's not a fruitful relationship. Let's go into this before we get into closing here in a little bit. So something you said, and you might have to remind me exactly how you said it. But you know, you said you guys were, I guess, different parts of your life, so you guys started to divide in this sense. So would you say you said you didn't think it was even possible to open or view them in that realm anymore?
Correct.
Right? So let's say that person, I guess, explains to you they have some type of change of heart, or maybe you even view it in that way. Like, does that automatically open up the best friend closeness type of thing, or would it only have to go into the direction of relationship, or we're not having like this?
Mind you, I know who this person is, so I'm very invested in this answer.
Yeah, so with this person, this is a close friend of mine, a close female friend of mine. At this point, I literally don't know what could be done that would make me say, yeah, I want to move into a romantic relationship with you. I don't know what that would be. A lot of changes could be made that would make her more like of what I would be looking for, and I still don't see that being enough.
Okay, that must be when I saw the other question. So when you say close friend, like on a scale of like 1 to 10, 10 being like this person is gonna be a part of every big moment of my life type of friend, to like, you know, median being like I'll probably say like, hey, it's one of my best female friends. I might say that to somebody when she's not around. Like where would you scale that relationship closeness?
That's a good question. Well, because, and I said it's a good question because like back to high school, I didn't make a lot of friends. She was one of the few that I had.
Gotcha.
So she's been around since what, 2010? Something like that, right? So she is one of the ones who has been there for all the major events.
Got you. Okay. So yeah, I mean that's interesting. I would just say like, of course, you know, let's put it 2 years in the future. You're married, got a kid on the way. Okay.
That sounds like a good 2 years.
Good,
I ain't gonna lie.
So then, will you feel like your relationship definitely has to change by that time if it's not with that person?
There would be some change to the relationship. I think that's just by nature of being married and that person not being my wife.
And how would you feel if your wife was like, I don't want you talking to him anymore?
I think that would suck, but I mean, that's my wife, so.
Okay.
No, let's dig into that though.
Yeah.
Let's dig into that, because I think, like, I would never tell my wife you can't talk to this person.
Okay.
Because I feel like if we're at that point, she's already disrespected me.
True.
I'm feeling like we should never get to that point.
I don't think I've ever felt like I've had to say that to her ever. And then, because I mean, if y'all know my wife, like, she's not the most outgoing.
That's a good word. Yeah, that's a good word.
She's very much fun with the people that she knows. So, but if you are outside of the bubble of people, you can forget it. Which is, you know, it's a blessing most of the time.
In this case, it.
But yeah. So it is. I'm trying to really grasp, because I feel like I have another friend of mine who had pretty good points. I can't remember being all until like now. I can't remember everything he said in regards to arguing for having a platonic, like, close friendship, although he is married as well. And I'm just like, that would have to be somebody that is very, like, if I had to build a person, a female, who was a close friend to me, and what confines, like, let's do this together, I guess. Get the old stuff out there, popcorn it. What would this person have to be? What would be the prerequisites for this person to even really be like a close friend or a best friend that she would consider? I would say, like, this person would definitely have to be really close to my wife as well. They would have to be, very respectful of boundaries. Like I should be able to talk to them on speakerphone every conversation we have. If we have a conversation outside of including my wife in that, to where there has to be no secrets or anything like that. And then somebody would always have to be involved in our, if we ever plan something or anything like that, there has to be multiple people there. Like it can't be an exclusive thing.
Yeah, they
at all. Like, do you feel like there's even a space for that? Like if you feel like it's genuine, because I do feel like in hearing him, like I feel like there is genuine, like that's my genuine friend who I deem it closer than like a normal friend to me, especially because time has a lot to do with it too. Like when you know somebody for a long time, it is a little bit more difficult to because you have built a relationship, whether may not be romantically now. You have built this relationship over time, so I still think there's value in that, especially if you feel like at the end of the day this person has the best interest at heart for me and they're a good person.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about that.
I think they would definitely have to be friends with your spouse. So Gina has multiple male friends. It took me a while to accept that. We had spirited conversations about it. But one thing I would say is they made me a friend though. Mm-hmm. From the jump, they made me a friend.
That's
One of them, he'll hug me. And I'm not used to hugging dudes, period. And he hugged me every single time. And he don't play about his hug either. He's serious in the most, male, heterosexual, no need to pause way. But he just letting me know, you family now. You know what I'm saying? And I've had some good conversations with him. So I would need that. That's what I would need. And I have a couple female friends. Most of my female friends I see once every 2 years. I just don't really hang out with them.
Yeah.
And
so it's not even really on the case to where Gina would have to build anything with it, because you don't really.
Yeah, I don't see them. I'll say the only female friend that I do see, she has Gina's phone number. They talk. You know what I'm saying? And that's so I only have one female friend that I actually do see that lives in the state, and I actually do see, and they're friends on their own. So I'll come home and Gina be like, oh, I was talking to Nicole today. I'm like, okay, cool. They have to be their own friends outside of me. Because if you ain't friends with my wife, then I can't hang out with you. How am I hang out with you?
Then too, I think dynamics change in some sense too. Let's just say we'll have to use Miles as the guinea pig here for example.
Yeah.
So let's say Miles meets his significant other. It's not this best friend that he associates with as well, or one of his best female friends. But maybe you and her are having a conversation, and she mentions "Hey, I seen your wife do this thing. I don't know, how do you feel about that? That's kind of conflicting with me. How would you accept that type of conversation?
Hold on.
Because then, cause let's be real, if we best friends, we should be able to have, or if we're close friends, at least all my close friends, I don't know, it could be different for you. Y'all can come to me and be like, hey,
She better tell one of my homeboys and let my homeboy tell me, because she can't do it.
See, because that's the thing, that's when I'm just dang, that's when I get weary about, our dynamic is gonna have to change.
Yeah,
because I can't. Even if you could be right about something,
I can't take nothing from you.
Exactly, I can't because if it didn't come from me authentically, they gonna find out.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. Yeah. Where'd you hear that from? That don't sound like you all the way.
It was oh, you talking to her about us?
And she can have the most genuine, real, best interest at heart type of mentality about it, but you can't enter that, because then that starts to enter in. And so especially from the opposite sex, that's why I do feel there's a ton more value in a best friend close relationship with a person like a brother, in a sense, to a sister. So when it comes to more serious relationship issues and problems, if I want to get a female perspective, I call my mom, I may call my sister. That's as far as it goes, because I know at the end of the day, they're willing to fully check me, because they know how foolish I am. Yeah. And then they have the best interest of my wife at heart, because they know her, they know her, and then they know her family. Then, I can trust that they won't lead me astray in that sense as well. But even with that, I can't fully trust. But at the end of the day, like, I can receive that. But like, if I had a female close friend, like, I would have that's.
I got a hard time with someone telling me like about my significant other. I just have a hard time with that. I'm not gonna lie. And then I have a harder time if it's another woman attempting to tell me about my significant other. Because I'm like, yo, honestly, my response would probably be, I appreciate you for saying something, but from here on, if you have, thoughts about my relationship, you got to go to her about that. Or
that's good.
I like that.
Just not come at all. Because, like I said, I have a hard time receiving that. And I don't cut folks off, really. But one thing that's gonna make me angry, one thing that make me angry is you telling me about my woman. Like, it's almost nobody's space to tell me about my woman, but it's definitely not another woman's space unless they see something egregious. Like, if you see something egregious, it's gonna hurt probably, but let your boy know. Other than that,
you might have to anonymously
send a letter.
You know what I'm saying? Like something, because you don't want to enter into that, because then there's so many. Because that's why I feel like it does get inappropriate.
Things get murky
in a way. Because you can't allow that. So that's why I feel like it's just like, you can how they taught you in school, like, practice safe sex, like get away from these things, and by putting up barriers, or you could just not do it. Yeah. And I'm choosing not to do it. Because honestly, the headaches that could possibly provide, even unwanted or warranted by myself, just because they can have a moment to where they feel like, hey, let me tell him about Karina, and then Karina's gonna have to tell me about myself after that. So it's just like, that's where it's difficult for me. And then too, that's why I do feel like it's important to build a closeness and a friendship with your wife, because a lot of people are out here getting married and they ain't really friends with their wife like that.
That is true. I have seen that.
Because that's outside of just like, y'all, we building a family together and I love you.
I'm like, y'all don't laugh?
Exactly.
That's wild. Y'all don't laugh at each other?
Because then, like, my wife she takes up all that female energy space that I need. I don't feel like that's needed elsewhere.
That's it.
Because we are already like friends first.
Yeah.
And like, for us, we were able to build so much. I mean, we don't have any kids yet, but like, we just been dealing with each other, and with that, we've been able to like strengthen our friendship.
Yeah.
And our partnership, and then our love life and everything else is like, it's like almost, love life and everything is like pluses. Everything's all plus because we have a solid friendship first. And so I can literally laugh with my wife about everything.
The friendship is so important, bro. Like, the other day, Gina scared me, right? She scared me good. And the way she just laughed at me afterwards, and I was just staring at her like after I got okay from being scared. And I was looking at her and I was like, this is why I married you. Because like, we can laugh, like we can be best friends. So like, if you're in a relationship and y'all don't got that, just get that. I don't care how fine she is, you need that. But what I was getting ready to say was like, if I need a female perspective, I'm gonna ask my wife or my therapist. I don't need it.
Yeah.
I keep females out, and that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to lie, act like I have no female friends, but like the level of closeness, like my guy friend,
this is not the same.
It's not the same. You keep at a distance.
Hey, I want to say real quick, I'm kind of jealous of you and Karina, just the fact that y'all like how y'all got to know each other and your families are close already, and like. That's it.
And got to spend years with each other.
Yeah, got to spend years with each other before even being,
you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. I hate
romantic with each other.
Must be nice.
One thing I always say to that is like, of course, I appreciate that. I guess in the sentiments that you're giving in regards to, but I will say like everybody's relationship walk is different. I feel like that was purposed for me because. It was at a time, and I think it's purpose for us. I'm not gonna sell myself short. Like I'm a blessing to her as well.
That's right, King. That's right, King.
So, but like at that time, like you know, I feel like we needed that from each other to where it helped us, like, to kind of springboard everything else as far as our relationship goes. And so, you know, coming from being in relationships where the woman I was talking to before, girl I was talking to before, family life was like jacked up, like, so, you know, it a lot of times you can read those red flags and tell, okay, there may be some other things I have to contend with and everything, but like when you know someone's family and you know where they're made of and stuff like that, it's easier to, you know, flow into that. So like having a close friend like her brother Jonathan, shout out to John, like was a big brother to me. I you know, most of my life now to this point, and so it did flow in easily. So building that friendship on that topic actually helped me, was introducing me to my wife, and I didn't even really know it yet.
Yeah.
And so and then being close with even her grandmother to some degree, and also with Priscilla always accepted me, always was kind to me and everything. And, you know, even to her cousins, shout out to Josh, shout out to, you know, all the people that I was around.
Yeah, you was right in your family, huh?
It was like, you know, it made it easier for me to transition into that. So it feels like we didn't really miss a beat as far as the family part goes. It was just now discovering her fully. But yeah, like friendships can do that for you though. So, you know, I think we still got a lot to learn when it comes to garnering new friendships. I can tell being by our conversation in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, you know, hey, we're just giving our perspective on everything. Like we don't really know the answers to everything. We try to find them though. We'll try our best. But you know, throw some stuff in the comments, let us know. Like even based upon a couple points that we may have said to Leonard, Miles, or myself, like give us some advice. You know, we want to learn from this, we want to be able to grow from this as well as be able to help others to grow. So, you know, yeah, throw some ideas our way.
That's perfect.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Hey, I love it. I got a question that we could talk about later, and this just be like extra content because we
Let's
can
run
cut this
it.
one right here, though. So before we get out of here, I appreciate everybody for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, put the hearts and all that other stuff, comment. Let folks know about the Three Good Guys podcast. We're here to have a good time with you guys. Y'all have any last words for this episode?
Nah, man, I enjoyed it. So I'm done. That's what you think.
Yeah, shout out to Anthony Joshua for knocking out Ngannou the other night.
The way a boxer is supposed to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's how it's
get it
supposed to
done.
happen.
Tyson Fury, I don't know what he was doing.
Don't know what that was.
I was like, the way that man was not moving his head that whole fight, like, there's no way you don't knock this dude out. And so, the truth will always prevail. Obviously, let's do that. But then, also, shout out to Praise Center Community Church for letting out a good time today. I love y'all.
I saw y'all today.
I definitely want to say, for this week, on the subject of friendship, like, once again, hear people out, try to move with your best foot forward. I know anxiety and stuff like that is rough to deal with when it comes to meeting new people. But one thing I'm beginning to practice this year in my life is I'm going to start to go and do the uncomfortable things so I can become more comfortable with them. And then in doing that, I'm going to grow. And then doing that, you can meet lifelong friends or people who can really add value to your life. So don't discredit it. Don't discount it. It may be tough, but, stick it out. Do it. It's worth it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's that. We'll catch y'all next week. I'm going to end this one right here.
Good job, boys. That was good.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
I do got
Check your text messages, Lynn.
Check my text messages.
Uh-oh. Somebody said something?